Hi, welcome. Today we will talk about a specific area in the endgames. Sometimes we can't play for the win because something went wrong. And in those situations, we will be extremely happy with the draw. So I'm talking about fortresses. We will start to talk about 10 different positions, 10 different fortresses. And in the end of this video, we will do two endgame studies about the same team. So let's jump. But before that, did you know that almost 87% of the viewers isn't subscribed? Why don't you like me? I am a good person and I need your help. With your help, I can continue producing content every day. So help me help you. And with that, I will give you everything you want about chess. If I haven't done yet, please tell me, put in the comments below your suggestion, critics, and if you haven't enjoyed something, please tell me. You can always talk with me at chess.com. Talking with my nickname is dark_attack. So let's jump to our video. So when we talk about fortresses, the fortresses are techniques where the side that is losing can draw, creating a zone of protection. So this is elementary position. So here, normally black would lose this game, but the problem is that the bishop isn't from a light square, and the square where the king is a light square. So if I play bishop to c7, the game will be draw. It's a stalemate. And if I advance the pawn, is stalemate too. So it isn't possible to win this game. For example, king here, I will advance the king, and the pawn is on a light square, so the bishop cannot protect the pawn. So that's the idea. When we want to build a fortress, we want to create a safe zone to protect our king. And with that, we will draw the game. So this is our reference. I will have here the reference, sorry, just for your orientation. And let's go to our first position. So in this position, the black has promoted to a queen, and our pawn has one square to go to promote. But the thing is that this king is being checked. So I will advance the king, and this game it's completely equal. Why is that? Well, the thing is that the opposite color king is too far away from my king. So normally, if you want to draw this game, this king cannot do opposition. So I think about these squares. So if the king is outside these squares, the game is equal. If the king is on the blue squares, the game is won. I will show next example. So, for example, after king goes here, this could continue with, for example, queen b1. And after, for example, king a8, the queen needs to play again, or else this will be a stalemate. So, for example, queen to some place, check, king there, king check, king there. I'm threatening to advance the pawn. So king here, again, if I want, I can move the king here. Queen check, king here, queen check, king here. And the problem is that this, if you play queen c7, you're going to stalemate again. The game will be draw. So this is very important. When you have a pawn one square from the promotion and this lateral pawn, normally the game will be draw unless the king is close. So if the king is far away, draw. But if the king is close, for example, in this example, the king is closer one square. This is already one for black, because after king to b8, now exists queen to b1, check. King a8, and now queen check again. King again, queen check, and now look the detail. Queen can go, for example, to c4, and after this move, we already have king to d6. And the thing is that the black king is near the white king, and now I will give checkmate, because even promoting the pawn, I have queen check, king goes, for example, to this square, later we can see to the other square, and now queen check and checkmate. And if the king goes to the other side, here I just play king c7, and the thing is that the white queen cannot check, or else I'm going to take with my queen. So white doesn't have any good check. So after, for example, this move, I will give checkmate, the kiss of the dead. So very interesting. Don't forget, if the king is far away, great, you can build the fortress. If the king is near, forget about this. You're going to lose the game. Okay. Next position. In this position, we will see what is a good position to have a pawn to build a fortress, and what is bad. So this position is completely equal. This is draw, because king attacks, for example, here is white to play something like that. King attacks, knight. King attacks, knight. King attacks, knight. Important. If the pawn is on B or G, yeah, you can do that. And you're going always to do this kind of stuff. Even you can play here, it's the same, because you're controlling the two squares. But if the pawn is if is a lateral pawn, A or H, this is lost, because you cannot do the maneuver with the knight. So after, for example, king c3, now if you play the knight to the corner, it's over, because you don't have any good square to play the knight. And if I try to play here, the pawn promotes and it's over. So it's quite easy to win with a lateral pawn. So very important. B or G, good, great. And if you have a lateral pawn, forget about it. It is completely lost. Next position. Here, this one, it's important, because if you have a C or F pawn one square from the promotion, and important, if the opposite king is too far away, the game will be equal. This will be a fortress and will be draw. So how can we do that? Simple. We will just play king to a7 and king to b8. And after this move, you never put your king in front of the pawn. This will lose the game. You want to put the king on a8. Why is that? Because if queen takes the pawn, this will be a stalemate. So that's the idea. After, for example, queen again, check, king here. Queen here, of course, I promote and it's over. This game, it's completely draw. Again, don't forget about this detail. The pawn is one square from the promotion. Let's see similar but quite different position. What is the difference between the first position and this one? I'm going to show. It's the position of the king. This king is near my king. So this position, it's one for black. Why is that? Because after queen plays to d7, now I can play king b6 doing opposition. I'm afraid of saying, oh, imagine the blue squares, the yellow, the green squares, and you need to memorize that. No, 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 no. You don't need to memorize that. You just need to think if it's possible to do the opposition. And if your opponent can't do opposition, forget, you're going to lose the game. If he can't, great, you have possibilities to draw the game. So here, after the promotion to knight, it's the only available move because you give check. Here you have an interesting idea, and this is one for black because king b5, knight check, and king a6. It isn't possible to solve this problem. After knight plays, queen checkmate. So don't forget, the position of the king is very important. If he's far away, good. If he's near, bad, terrible. Okay, next position. Here, this is completely equal, this position. And for the defensive side, you want to prevent the opposite queen to do opposition. So first I'm going to give check. And after that, normally your opponent will try to do opposition. And we need to put the king on g8. And look, the bishop is controlling the g6 square. For this reason, for example, if rook gives check, we will run away to the center because it isn't possible to give checkmate with king and rook on the center. So you want always to try to put your king on the center. Of course, here the rook can play to a7. And my suggestion is just to control this square with the bishop. So bishop here, for example, king. Bishop here, king. You don't need to be afraid. Bishop here or over there. And okay, rook check, king here. Rook check, king here. Because this square is always being controlled by your bishop. You just have to do that. Prevent the opposition. Okay, so for example, rook check. Great. King to h8. What is the problem? It doesn't exist. Rook to this square. Okay. Yeah. Bishop here. What is the problem? I don't know what is the problem. Oh, but the king can go to this square and threaten to give checkmate. Yes, it's true, but I can give a check because the king is on the light square. And even if he plays that, I can play here, I can play here. I can be happy by several different ways. So quite easy to draw this game. Next position. Knight. Here we are giving check. And it's the same logic. We don't want to let the opposite king to do the opposition. I need to work out this word opposite, I don't know. But well, you want to control this square. And okay, the rook can play, for example, here I'm going to play the king. The rook can play here. Yeah, let's go. Rook here. Yeah, knight plays. Rook here. Yeah, king c2. Again, it's the same logic. If you can run to the center, run to the center. Because king and rook cannot give checkmate on the center. And another important rule, you need to have your knight near your king. Of course, on the other position, the bishop can be far away from the king, but the knight is important to be near to prevent pins. Okay, so for example, this isn't available. Okay, this idea. Okay, king b2. This isn't available, neither this square, rook here, and okay, I like knight c1, just to show that you don't need to be worried about. King to d2, knight check. King here, knight check. You will want always to give checks and prevent the opposition, okay? Very important, prevent the opposition. So, rook check, here, knight check. King here, okay. Very well. King c3. Let's run to the center. Let's go. So this is quite easy. And let's see. Another idea. More complicated one. King here, rook, king here. Just to show more complicated idea. Rook here, king here, rook here. Okay. Here, probably most of you will be afraid because the rook is cutting the squares to the king. But you don't need to be worried about again. So, of course, you won't be playing king to e1, or else you're going to lose by checkmate. But you can play knight b3. And after this move, opposition, again, knight near the king on c1, check. King here, again, knight e2. King here, again, knight c1. And this is an easy draw, okay? So simple. Next position. In this case, this is a fortress. And why is that? Simple, because the bishop is on the black squares. And the king can go to the corner, and I won't be able to take the pawn. Even because the pawn is on a light square. So the bishop cannot sacrifice or take by some way. So let's see. Bishop goes here, king. King here, king. And now if I play that, this will be a stalemate. And bishop here is stalemate too. So this one, it's easier because you just need to put the king on the corner and everything will be all right. So very, very easy stuff. Continuing, this one is very difficult, very complicated to draw because this is too specific. So this is a fortress, and I think it's a great pattern to show you because this is completely equal. Why is that? Because my bishop and my knight doesn't let the opposite king to enter, because this knight is protecting these two squares and the bishop is protecting these three squares. So the thing is that it isn't possible to attack this king with the black king and the queen. I'm going to show. So the idea you already know. I will play king to the available squares, and he won't be able to win this game. So, for example, queen, king, always like that. And I don't need to move any of my piece because the king cannot enter. And of course, if queen takes, bishop takes, it's draw because king plus bishop against king is a draw. So king, queen. Now we need to think a little bit because here I can give check and go again. Another idea could be just to play bishop a1. But it's more complicated because we need to calculate about this idea. Of course, the knight is controlling the square. But after, for example, queen, king, and king, okay, again, bishop check, king b4, and we have the same position. Beautiful stuff. What is complicated on this fortress? The thing more complicated is to create the setup, because most of times the knight will be here, the bishop will be there, and you need to coordinate your pieces to build the fortress. So that's the complicated thing. But if you do the fortress and if you draw with a bishop plus a knight against the queen, please show me. I want to see this game because it's very interesting. Next position. And we are finishing already the examples. Here, this is completely equal because black is playing on this direction and the pawn is protecting the rook. So why is that a draw? Because the rook is controlling these squares, the file. Yeah, and the thing is that I will never play my rook. I will play the king on one direction or on the other direction. And because of the fact that this king cannot enter, this is completely draw. Let's see, for example, queen check, king. Yeah, no problem. Queen check, king again. Oh, but the king can advance. Yeah, true. King here, it's possible. Again, and you're not improving your position. Oh, but now this isn't available, neither this square. Yeah, but I can play here. What is the problem? Queen check. Yeah, true, but king here. Because the rook is blocking everything. So this is a fortress. Next position. Here, this one is a weird position because we are seeing a position where the pawn is one square from the promotion. And EF a knight. But the thing is that this is completely draw because the knight doesn't have the ability to win tempos. And I will be always playing my king to these two squares because this king is being blocked. So this is an exceptional exception. And this isn't possible to win. I will be always playing my king on one direction or on another direction. He cannot lose a tempo. Beautiful stuff. Last example, this one. This is related with an endgame team called the opposite color bishop endgame. So, of course, this is rare because normally one of the things that I teach my students is that when you play an endgame with bishops of opposite colors, a difference of one pawn normally isn't significant and the game will finish on a draw. But in this case, this is an exception because I have one pawn and black has four. But the thing is that my king is centralized and the bishop is controlling the advances of the pawns. So this is completely equal. But if you put on an engine, then the engine will say, oh no, black is one. But this isn't true. I can play whatever I want and he cannot improve his position. In this direction, it isn't possible. Let's see on the other direction. So things like that. Let's go to the other side. Again, I will not play my king because I don't need to. So something like that, something like that. And the thing is very important. This pawn is from the same square of the bishop. It's on the light square. So it can't sacrifice, it can't push my king to a different square. So this is easy stuff. You just need to play the king on the diagonal and the game is completely draw. So very, very, very easy. We already seen 10 examples of fortresses, and we've seen that this is a way of saving from a loss, and we will draw a game. How we do that? Creating safe squares and blocking your opponent to enter on the safe zone. Now, I'm going to show you two endgame studies about fortresses, and they are quite beautiful and of course impossible to happen on a game, I think. But if you want to see more material about fortresses, put on the comments below because I can do a video about, for example, 10 fortresses that have been built on official games, for example. I think will be interesting to complement this video. So let's go. So this is the first study that I have to show you. And the thing is that here is white to play. How would you play? If you want, you can put on pause and think a little bit about this position. And the thing is that, well, we are losing because black has a queen and we have a rook plus a knight. And about the pawns, we have the same pawns. But the thing is that here we have a beautiful idea that if you put on an engine, the engine won't solve it. You're going to play knight g4, check. Why is that good? Simple, because you're going to build the fortress. You're giving check and threatening to take the queen. And after pawn takes, you close everything. And now this game is completely over. This is draw. You just need to be looking to the queen. And yeah, it isn't possible to do nothing on this position because all the files are closed. Easy stuff. The second and last study that I have to you is this one. And here you're playing with what? And what would you play? Sorry, here you're playing with black. Sorry. What would you play with black here? The idea, of course, this is a study, so this is very rare, but the idea is equal, is the same. So you will play queen b6, and after knight takes, pawn takes, now the game is completely over because white doesn't have ability to open any file. So even if he plays that, I will just take with g. And the thing is that I don't need to play the bishop. I just play the king anywhere, and the game is completely drawn. It's over. So easy. So we have seen 10 examples about fortresses. Now you have the ability to draw positions when the game is complicated. You just need to see the patterns, imagine, be creative, and you will be able to save a lot of off points. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget, push the like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. This will be a very good help. And of course, notifications on, and I will be waiting for some comments about new materials if you want to see here on the channel. As you know, every day I put a new video here, and I hope you enjoyed this one. So till tomorrow, and you already know, at the same hour, I will be here to teach a little more about chess. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye.